2022, and it's exactly 10 a.m. Could we please do a roll call?
Geraldine Stanley, CLB Secretary.
Rena Borja, member.
Maria Perez, Administrative Officer.
Michelle Santos, Department of Revenue and Taxation.
Nita Bailey, CLB Investigator Supervisor.
COB Executive Director Suriaco Sanchez.
Bernard Beneventi, and I'm the acting board chairman.
Matthew Cruz, board member.
Marcus Benania, investigator, COB.
Good boy.
Andrew Mesa, CLB investigator. Aaron Aragon, CLB investigator.
Thank you.
State your name.
Ina Anna.
Roll call, sir.
Vince Ariola, DPW Director.
Good
Morning,
sir.
everybody.
Good morning.
The public.
We have in public, individual public section, sir.
Joseph Rosano, Washington Forest.
Good morning to you, sir. Okay, roll call is done. Let's review the minutes, March 16th, 2022 for a regular board meeting, and up to April, should be 2021, right? 22?
Yeah.
Special meeting proposed action to formally accept minutes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We got a little bit of a boo-boo. Want to review, if I could, there's a motion to move on, I'll accept that.
Move to accept minutes, subject to correction.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's move on to the public comments. Is there anyone in the public sector that want to make a comment? Sir?
No.
Okay, at this time, we don't have anyone from the public sector to make a comment. Section reports. Administrative division, and that will be Maria Perez. Do you have anything for us, Maria?
Yes, good morning,
Good morning.
everyone. The following report is as of March 22, our administrative division. Total amount of contractors from June 2021 to March 30th. Active contractors are 930. Inactive contractors is 34. Master electrician is 28. Total amount is 992.
Okay,
The American Rescue Plan appropriation, total amount that we received is 72,100. Expenditure is $67,502.68. It began on March 3rd, 2021, which expires December 31st, 2024. We have a purchase orders of 2 vehicles, which is a 2002 GMC Canyon 2-wheel drive extended cab truck. Total cost is $63,990. Estimate time to receive the 2 vehicles is 45 days. And we will also put our logos on, and the person that's taking care of making sure everything runs smooth is Miss Lily Santos. We also have supplies, requisition for COVID, which includes face masks, hand sanitizers, wipes, alcohol, commercial disinfectant spray, total amount is $1,375.68. Equipment, we have a requisition for the air purifier, the thermometer with the stand, and the handguns. Total amount is $2,137. The balance as of April 2022 is $4,597.32. The renewal process for 2023 has started as of March 2022. The license ID card badging systems are updated to include our director, Mr. Sirocco Sanchez Jr. at this time, and the only licenses that are being issued at this time are the A, General Engineering, and the B, General Building. The new, which it shows on the, on my document, it says the yellow indicates new and RME licenses. So the new corporation, and which is Hong Yi Tiang Inc., and their RME is Han Zhu. Classification is B. New company is ZC Construction LLC. Classification is A and B. Star Asia Investment LLC, they have a B. Golden 888 LLC DBA Goldman Construction, they have a B. C1 8 10 11 12 13 17 18 24 31 33 36 42 44 50 56 and C68. Epoxy coating ejects in solar power energy systems and Catholic protection.
Well, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
The company name, he has all this classification, or is it under Danilo Gennaro?
General Denalo is the responsible management employee.
So that's his.
So that these are his classifications. So that's how the corporation is able to get these classifications. So example, if he disassociates or they add another RME, the classification can be either added or subtracted.
So he's got almost like 20 classifications.
Some, yes. But he doesn't have civil. There's a lot of classifications. He doesn't have, like, example, plumbing or, yes. And he doesn't have civil A.
Okay.
He has some, but not quite a.
Okay, thank you.
Totus Guam Inc. has A and B. Benzon Builds with a Z has a C56. M Construction has a B. Chel Max.
Pardon, can I interrupt?
Yes, sir.
So going back to the Golden 888 Goldman Construction, the association with the RME and all his certifications, if they terminate that RME relationship, those classifications leave the company. Is that true?
It's true.
Then how do we keep track? Is the onus on them to let us know of the termination of relationship with the RME?
Yes, they have 30 days to inform us.
And how do we find out if they don't inform us?
How do we find out?
Yeah, because if they continue operations as if they had those certifications, that might be a possibility if they terminate with the RME. Is there a procedure that ensures that safeguards from that happening?
What we usually do is both licensing and investigation. In the event that they don't have an RME, majority of the time, we are informed. If we're not informed and we find out that they are doing work and we find out, the investigation section will go out and verify if their RME, disassociated or not.
Does the RME have, is the onus on the RME also to inform the CBL that they have been disassociated with the organization, with the particular company?
Yes, we've had some, and then we also, if we get any disassociation, we also put it in our system, and then we also inform investigation section.
Yeah, but are they required to inform us once that happens? And he said, all right, thank you.
Can we do like a quarterly or periodic check on this? I think we should have some kind of system to call them up and say, hey, is this, are you still LLC? Is he still your RME? You know, once in a while we should do that, or to have a system where we contact these people and just to make sure they're in line.
Excuse me, can I answer, sir?
Go ahead, ma'am.
Normally, we can find out also when they are processing for a permit. Once they have a project and they process for a permit, then we verify if they still have the same RME.
The permit is with DPW, right? To
But
do the work.
it comes to us,
For
to
clearing?
verify if the contractor is still, they still have the RME. If they don't have, then they cannot go through with the permit.
Well, I think
Right.
this is, I think this, Matthew, I think this is a marriage between the two, because if the RME leaves, the other guy's gonna be in hot water, so they need to work together to be able to do this. I get what you're saying, but I believe that it's safeguarded, because if these guys come in to apply for something and the RME hasn't signed off on it, that's how we find out. So that's kind of.
Yeah,
a
I
check and balance.
just wanted to know.
Well, the other
That's all.
checks and balances.
Clarification.
The permit section, talking to you.
Yeah, the permit section,
Yeah, the
Uh,
permit, okay. It's a permit.
thank you.
So there's too many classifications for us to be checking, because one is gonna wanna do business and the other one, so it's kinda like hand in hand. So they kinda check each other.
Okay, let's move on. Thank you. Go ahead, Maria.
Okay, the next one is Jobin Construction Inc. And they have C68 solar power photovoltaic systems. We have a Robert Jensen, who's the RME for Hyungjin Electric. And he has an A, B, C13, C13A, C17, C68 solar power systems. And Zin Yu Rong Zhang LLC, and they have an A and B, and Jianghua Zhao Corporation, they have a B, and Mr. Pu Ho Sin is the RME for SK Construction Inc., and they have a B, and B and T Industries is a sole proprietor, and they have a B. That's all.
Okay, thank you so much, Maria. Let's move on to Executive Director's,
Investigation section.
oh, I'm sorry, investigation section. Ms. Nita Bailey, do you mind please give us a report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, everyone. The investigation section report is our report from January to March 2022. We're going to report on our open cases, closed cases, and some ongoing cases that we have. So we will start with open cases. Number 1, case 2021-0602, CLB versus Primus Heavy Equipment. The nature of complaint is they're doing work without a permit. So the status of this case is, we served them the accusation, and now they are requesting for a hearing. So, investigator, Marcos Pinonia, is going to present, the brief summary of this case for the board to review, in order for the board to decide, to schedule for the hearing. Mr. Pinonia.
Okay, so, this is, case number 2021-0602. It's a contractor's license board versus Primo Heavy Equipment. We did a field investigation on, May 26, 2021. We, discovered that there's an open lot that's freshly cleared. We, questioned the workers there, who was the homeowner, the landowner. We found out it's, Mr. James G. We, questioned Mr. James G., who was the contractor clearing. He gave us a bunch of information saying agreements and permits that were starting the process, but was not completed yet. We found out it's Primo's Heavy Equipment. And then when we questioned Primo's, they were saying that they're just a rental, but they are a licensed contractors, so getting a permit to begin to initiate work is paramount, so we don't understand why they did not. And we try to give them a citation on, let me give it to them, I think July 2nd. We gave a citation, and then they had their attorney, Meenakshi Hemlani, give us the entry of appearance, and they also are appealing the citation. And then we issued them the accusation on March 31st, 2022, and their attorney sent us back the notice of defense requesting for a board hearing.
Have we scheduled that one yet?
No, that's why we're here today to discuss, and that's what I'm gonna ask the board. When do you guys want to schedule the hearing for Primo's Heavy Equipment?
When's the next available date?
I believe,
Actually, it depends on the board if they're ready for, because the hearing officer here also has to be notified first, so,
oh yeah,
Sure,
that's
sure.
right.
yeah, so maybe
When
May,
is it then?
I don't know, maybe May or June, it depends on the boards, if they're ready for,
Does the legal counsel have to look at it, since there's a lawyer involved?
Yeah,
they
Mr.
have a
Keeler
lawyer,
is involved.
Hemlani.
Yeah,
So what is his response?
I'm sorry?
What is Mr. Keeler saying about this?
It's really up to the board now, cause they're requesting the hearing, they're appealing their citation, and now they're requesting the board to hear their case.
If the citation will stand or whatever is the board's decision,
Right.
depending on the presentation also of the party, of the respondent, of Hemlani.
Yeah.
But isn't it, aren't we, don't we have to consider Mr. Keeler's schedule?
Yeah, that's what I said, that's
Yeah,
why,
the hearing officer.
the
Yeah,
hearing
so
officer.
whenever everybody's available, or whenever that time is
Go ahead
good,
and schedule it.
let's move on to it so we can close this case.
So maybe like,
Schedule with Mr. Keeler and then check.
Yeah, you have to check with Mr. Keeler
Yeah.
first, no.
Yeah,
okay,
I think the legal counsel serves at the pleasure of the board.
That's right.
We set it. and
That's right.
he
You
appears.
guys set your date on the hearing, and
Yes,
Mr.
yes.
Keeler should abide by
So what's
their
it?
decision.
Monday on it.
So it could be at the next board meeting, next month.
yeah.
Which is,
Put it on the agenda.
It says, May 18th is the next, I think.
Yes, May 18th.
Is that when the board would like to schedule their hearing?
Yeah, let's get it out of the way. We don't need to drag these things on.
Yeah. It's,
I have a question, Mr. Chairman, so there's a total stop work order on this project?
yes.
There's no more clearing at all,
No.
nothing's moving?
It actually was given to them too by, EPA, so EPA was also.
Where exactly is this?
This is along Route 10 in Mihilao,
Route 10?
near the, traffic light to where the church is
Agriculture?
at, Department of Agriculture. That kind of big open lot that was
It's a
right
big
there by
lot.
the road,
Okay,
right after, AMC,
okay.
yeah.
So, May 18, tentative schedule,
May 18th.
pending on availability.
Is there anything in writing from them as to what their defense is that we can
Yes.
review?
Yes, sir,
Yes,
it's
sir.
actually attached to the, packet that was given to you guys.
The notice of.
All the supporting documents, we have pictures, the other, like the agreement between, Primos and Mr. James G. There is a permit that was initiated but was not yet, completed. And that's the issue that we have with Primos, is that they didn't, secure the permit completely. Just initiating it's not enough to.
They didn't get, at least what I have here, they didn't get approval from EPA?
Correct,
Oh my lord,
Yeah.
or Public Works,
correct.
okay.
Mhm.
Real quick, do you know what their defense is?
It says here that.
Sorry, I forgot.
No, it was, they're saying that, Primos wasn't not aware that, they were supposed to secure the permit. Or that it was up to the homeowner to secure the permit, not them. They're simply a rental company.
When they're doing the actual clearing.
Yeah, it's actually their operators.
They're actually operators, they're doing the clearing, so they're not a rental company
Correct,
when they do that, when they actually do the work.
yes, absolutely.
That's what it is.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll get, May 18th will be the date and we'll follow through.
I mean, if you guys have any other questions too, you can always give me an email and I can respond accordingly.
Okay. I trust we'll be ready to defend our,
It's
Our actions?
It's pretty open shut, I think.
okay?
They didn't secure the permit, so they should not have initiated work.
Who's supposed to secure the permit, the contractor clearing or the contractor building?
I mean, it really depends on the agreement that they have with each other, because there is cases where the homeowner or landowner secures the permit, but Primos, they've been licensed on Guam for over 20 years, they should know.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the landowner or the owner or if they're clearing land, they're gonna build something, right? So is Primos gonna build it or is there a contractor?
This is clearing.
It was only a clearing permit,
Oh, it's
it wasn't
only
a
a clearing.
building
It's not
permit,
for a building.
yeah. It was just a permit to clear, I think it's almost 2 acres of land.
Oh, guys, this is almost a
Proposed
year.
permit,
Right.
but there was no
proposed.
permit.
I'm sorry?
There was no permit issued.
It was not yet completed, they still have to go through EPA,
He
DPW.
cleared it
So
before
they-
the
they-
permit was issued?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, so they had known that the permit was necessary because they applied. They
Yes.
just jumped the gun and did it before the permit was issued. So
Exactly.
they knew that they had to have a permit prior. They just tried to save time and do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Or do you
That's
wanna,
Perhaps.
you might also wanna note to the members of the board that what's going on within James Z now with Primos, there goes a blame game now on who's supposed to get the permit, so
Right.
let's
I mean,
make sure they get the details on that.
like I said too, EPA is involved, they
Yeah.
issued a stop work order, it's attached here too, I gave you guys a copy of their report for that, their investigation too.
Yeah, last question if I could ask,
Mhm.
why did it take so long to get to the board? This is since May, June last year?
We were back and forth with our legal, they also lawyered up, so that was kind of the,
But I see in the file here that Attorney Menas had requested for a hearing as far back as, I think last year, I think there's something in there. Anyway,
I believe
just-
we were still closed, we did not have any board meetings at all, I think, since that time.
All right,
Okay, let's move on.
all right.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pinonia. Thank you, board members. Okay, so on, number 2 on the open page, we have, case number 2021-1202, CLB versus Midbridge Guam Inc. This is a safety violation, and, there is a citation that is pending for issuance, and, the citation is $1,500. This has been reviewed, but we haven't served the citation yet.
Smith Bridge?
Smith Bridge, yeah. they're doing, renovation or, what you call that, restoration work back here where the old cafeteria is at, and then they have a lot of safety violation. We attach all the pictures to, the document that we're going to serve them on the citation, so all the proof, are there. Once we serve the citation, so, it was already brought to the attention of the executive director, and, the amount that is proposed for the citation is 1,500. Okay, so, case number 3, 2022-0201, CLB versus Stephen Wong. This one is, no license and advertising. He has a business card that he's showing that he's a contractor under, Harmony, but he is not a licensed contractor. He's using Harmony and saying that he's the licensed contractor. So that's a violation, for unlicensed activity. So we also prepared a citation. It's pending for issuance, and, the amount of the fine is $1,000. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so number 4, case number 2022-0202, CLB versus Harmony Guam Corp. So this is the corporation that's allowing the unlicensed person to have a direct management of the construction. It is connected to the case number 3. So we also is going to issue a citation to, the corporation for allowing this unlicensed, contractor to manage, his, projects, which is in violation of 70116.
Why is the, is that the fee at the bottom, 500?
Yeah, it's 500. It's
Why is it less than the?
It's for 500 for the company. We have the RME for the Harmony appeared, and they were not really aware of the activity of Mr. Wong. Yeah, so but still they are in violation because there are documents that's being signed under their name by Wong. So Wong has to totally remove, him advertising as the contractor for Harmony. Okay.
Were any of the documents signed by a representative of Harmony with regards to the project that he was working on?
It was a demolition project that he was doing under Harmony. So Harmony was not aware that he's advertising as a contractor using their business card.
So to the extent of Harmony's participation, it was just because he had a business card from Harmony? There were no other documents which reflected Harmony's involvement?
No, it's so Harmony's name was on the application, the permit application. So they tried to do a demolition, and we actually denied that because they don't have a demolition license. So what happened was that the employee from Harmony, Mr. Stephen Wang, drew up his own contract to do that demolition for that same project, and he also doesn't have a license. So
Is Mr. Wang a contractor or is he an RME?
he's an employee for
He's
Harmony.
he's an employee.
Yeah. So
So is the job shut down?
he already did the job.
Yeah.
There's another one I think EPA is involved with this too, because what he did was I think he demoed the house and then he buried the debris in the ground. All the demolition works, the trash, everything. There's pictures for it too.
So it's it becomes an environmental issue.
The EPA is involved, DPW is also involved. Yeah.
Okay. Let's follow through.
So maybe Mr. Wang's, fine should be stiffer. You're just slapping him on the hand with $1,000.
So it
The
depends on.
cost of his project is on his agreement was $6,000.
So that's based on that?
He can do maximum
Okay.
50%.
8%.
Yeah.
It's up to the
The
board.
board
if they
wants
want
us
it.
to
Yeah.
make it stiffer, we can.
Mhm.
Well, it just seems to me it's just a slap on the hand with that kind of behavior.
Would you guys like us to increase the,
Yeah, it's not
Citation?
served yet, it's pending, so it's up to the board if the board wanted to, raise the fine to Stephen Wang.
Make it $5,000, slap him.
so maximum, it has to be 50%.
Just do the
of
max.
6,000.
Max
So
is what,
3,000
3,000, yeah, give him the
Yeah,
max.
Okay, I'll take
Increase that.
So 3,
Yes, ma'am.
So how about,
Harmony.
excuse me, how about Harmony then?
so Harmony, since, their offense was
Need to make a
just
motion.
allowing, without direct allowing them to use, so it's up also to the board if they wanted a higher fine for
Harmony,
Harmony.
because they're somehow involved, right?
Oh, man, they're.
They're
I'm sure
let
they're
it
connected in
happen.
there somewhere.
Steven, an employee of Harmony?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just an employee.
Well, you should,
But-
the company should be,
Responsible for their employees' actions.
Yeah.
Correct.
So how much will be
So, can I make a motion to increase the fine for Mr. Wang to 3,000? And also Harmony should know what their employees are doing.
Yeah.
Was a project a subcontracting of the contract with Harmony?
No.
No,
Because what you said was that Harmony turned it down because they didn't have a certification for the demolition, so the employee took it upon himself to enter into contract with for the demolition. Is that the correct
So-
understanding?
yes, I.
So
you're
Harmony's
correct.
not allowed to do this kind of work?
They don't have
Then
the
why
right.
did he accept this kind of work? What's the max fine on this one?
Our law says, minimum $200 and maximum 50% of the value of the project.
And what's the value?
6,000. It was just.
It wouldn't say.
Slap him the same.
Yeah,
Yeah, I make a motion to
do the same?
increase the fines for Mr. Wang and Harmony
3,000.
to the max.
second the motion,
Max.
anybody? All in favor?
Only one gonna get shot after I leave here.
We got security.
Yeah.
Second?
Motion.
Did we vote on that already?
No, there's no second. Can we need a second?
I second it.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Okay, so case number 5, 2022-03, Stephen Dueñas versus Stephen Chon, Guam Casey Construction. This is warranty issues, and they're already working on the punch list, and the deadline for this to be completed is on Friday.
Stephen Chun is a general?
Yeah.
Yes.
Stephen is the contractor, the company is Guam Casey. So these are like the 2022-02-04, it's the same problem, they are neighbors, the houses are next to each other. James David versus also Stephen, so they're all working, the investigators went there already and they verified and they work on a punch list. So all the punch lists will be completed by Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, follow through that punch list, and let's see what we got.
Is this a specific pattern to this individual's operations? Have we had any other previous complaints regarding Stephen Chung?
This was
Or is it
the-
just specific to the two homes that he's working on that are our neighbors?
So far, these are the first complaints that we have received for Guam Casey for Stephen Chong.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Number 7, case number 2022-03-04, Stephen King versus Base Corporation. This is a complaint pertaining to a retaining wall and drainage that was built. Actually, the retaining wall was already existing, and there was like a drainage that they have put in between the two properties. So the homeowner is concerned that this drainage that they had backfilled is not enough. The retaining wall that's existing is not enough to carry this load. So we have requested the contractor to submit the calculations from the PE, and it was already submitted, right, Mr. Aragon is the investigator assigned, would you wanna add more?
Yeah, he submitted it. He's
Yes.
working on it.
So, we're in the process of, verifying and, I think, the base corporation, they are owning up to, to this thing. And they are trying to schedule, with the homeowner to go inside the property of the homeowner and verify because the wall is already 5 years old, But, based on the calculation of, Mr. Willie Flores, the PE, that amount of backfill that was, how many truckloads, whatever, he certified it already that it is enough, But just to double check because the wall is 5 years old, we just wanted to make sure that after 2 years the walls will not collapse, right? And then they filed a complaint here, and so we're investigating it thoroughly, and then when everybody approved, then it could be closed. Okay.
So the wall's still holding up?
Yeah, it's holding up. There is a drawing. Actually, there is a picture that shows the gap. Where they put those. It's a drainage.
So, let me understand this. The wall was built 5 years ago, and the homeowner's complaining that the wall is not sufficient.
Because there is a drainage that they constructed, base corporation in between the two properties. So he's concerned that the amount of base course that were poured in there is not enough to support, his existing wall.
Is there?
Was it just a concern or was there an example of it failing?
Is it showing some erosion?
No, there was no erosion or anything. He's just concerned, because of the amount of how many truckloads. But there was a calculation that was submitted already by the PE.
It's been 5 years and it's still standing.
It's still fine,
So,
yeah.
but can they still complain after 5 years?
It still can.
Yeah, because it might, it's just a concern because it might collapse because there's just a new, like base course that was poured in there for drainage purposes. So, but, yeah, we are thoroughly investigating it and we will report to the
We have
board.
pictures of that, right?
Yes, we have pictures of it.
Okay.
Okay,
If possible, I'd like to see the pictures.
sure.
Okay.
Aaron, please take note, Mr. Bernard wanted to see the pictures of the retaining wall. Okay? You can forward to him later.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so the cases that we closed, number 1, case number 2021-0908, Kindo Electric versus Morico. The nature of complaint for this is, Kindo was complaining that Morico was installing a generator maintenance and installation without the contractor's license. So this case was closed. Miss Ibanez was involved in this one, and it was closed due to the fact that the C6 could not be enforced. So
Cannot be enforced?
could not be enforced because of our rules and regulation. It's not adopted. So that was the reason that was stated in the letter that they sent to Kindo. It was cleared by legal counsel.
So Morocco is a vendor.
Morico
He
actually,
provided a generator.
Morico is just selling generators.
So they did some installation?
According to the, as alleged, by Kindo Electric before that they are installing, but they were claiming that the maintenance that they were doing was only for their own generator that they are selling, not for just plainly, so in that particular case, they're not really required for a license.
But did they install it?
If they installed it and they started doing some connections and hard wiring and all that, then they should be a
contractor's
certified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
certified
Pardon me. Pardon me, is there an issue that we can't enforce C68? Is there something that we have to do in order for us to be able to enforce the C68 classification? Are we deficient in anything that is in on the books that prevents us from future enforcement of the C68 certi- classification? And how, if so, what are we going to do to close that gap?
Yeah, what we're currently doing, sir, is that we are revising and implementing the new rules and reg for C68. And that has been C68 has been an existing program here. However, it was never adjudicated and to be effective on our enforcement. So we
Right.
started the process on that about 3 weeks ago. And we are ready to forward that draft 668 rules and regs to legal for their review. Now, once legal goes through that with all the recommendations and approval and whatever, then when it comes back to me, I will be forwarding that process to the board. And the board will have the final, right? Once that's finished, it's gonna go down right to the adjudication process. And of course, that will go down to the legislature and all that, so
Right,
with that, we're ready.
so there's progress.
There is, yes, some big progress.
This is only, I'm sorry, this is only for C68?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just that specific?
C68 is on hold.
Yeah. And so, the problem we're having there is that we really cannot do much enforcement there because the 68 process, the C68 was never adjudicated. So we are working on that. So, you know, once you get that adjudicated, it'll be a perfect program for both the public and the enforcement division here, the COB. So that's where we are now. It's not the fastest process, but it's gonna work. Like.
Are there any other instances of such such classifications that are not enforceable, that are out there that need to be addressed?
Well, there might be some, but I'd rather not discuss that since it might be under investigation right now.
Okay,
You?
So, number 2 case that we closed was case number 2022-0101, Gosam versus GPCC. This is non-payment of subcontract agreement, but the parties have resolved it and they settled. So we have to close the case. Case number 3, case number 2022-0102, CLB versus Three Brothers Builders. This is a violation of the building law. Three Brothers had applied for the occupancy of the building, but they have not gone through the proper inspections. So Public Works got involved and they requested to submit justifications in order for them to proceed on their occupancy. So it was cleared, but we still cited Three Brothers $1,000 because this is really for the homeowner. It's not fair for the homeowner, you know, to just violate, you know, the building code. So we cited them $1,000 and they paid the citation. So we closed the case. And
Can I just ask real quick,
Sure,
what was the violation?
it's building law violation. They did not submit all the requirements for the building inspection, from footing, you know, and everything. But I think it was only the miscommunication between, you know, the one that's processing and the project manager or something like that. So they went to DPW, and then DPW finally had recovered, you know, the documents. But it's still, you know, it's still like you just don't go in there and apply for occupancy without, you know, following the process. So DPW, I think, cleared this also. So case number 4, 2022-0301, CLB versus OH Construction. This is a safety violation also, and the citation was $200. Mr. Andrew Mesa, can you please elaborate on the violation for OH?
It was a safety violation. We issued a cease and desist from the work in Magana Heights. So a power encroachment on the roof project they had, and the OH was able to address it with GPA engineer, and they were able to relocate the service drop over the project, and he did it in a timely manner, so we gave him pretty minimum time because he was able to address the issue immediately, and the safety hazard was corrected.
So the minimum was 200.
Yes, we give them the minimum because it's like within 24 hours, GPA was there, and
They were able to-
we stopped the work first, so nobody will get,
Right,
you know,
okay.
injured. Okay. So number 5, case number 2022-0302, CLB versus Sinks Construction. This is also a safety violation. They don't have a demolition permit, and they were demolishing a building in Tumon. So, Mr. Aaron Aragon, can you elaborate on this case?
So Zing's Construction didn't have a building permit, and there are some safety violations. Their temporary wall fell down, so the project was accessible to the public. So we went over there and we took pictures, called in the contractor, found out he didn't have a building permit, let alone the proper classification to be doing demolition work. So we cited him for that, and we told him to find a contractor that is licensed to do demolition, and which he did do. And I signed the clearance myself to help them get along, to move along in the process.
So we cited them for $1,000, and they also paid the citation, no contest.
Okay.
Is that a standard that we just hit them with $1,000, or do we again look at the maximum or the minimums, between the minimums? How was the $1,000 the amount arrived at for that?
I think we presented the pictures of the violation to the executive director at that time, and she approved for the $1,000 fine. There was actually no like estimation or whatever, because there was no permit, so we could not base, like, if there was already a permit, then we can base how much is the cost of the project. We can base the minimum 200, not to exceed the 50%, but in this case, because there is no permit, so there was no basis to,
Was this a house, a wall?
it was
or-
an old building in Tumon.
So we're talking about more than 500 square feet?
Probably, not really. Just like some remaining columns, you know, and stuff like that.
Was there agreed upon price for the demolition between the?
There was no agreed upon price because they didn't even apply for a permit. So, so after this, that we.
Normally, when they enter into an agreement, an agreement to do the work, there's normally, I don't know, people, it's reasonable to think that they had a price that they were gonna
They did.
conduct the project, to do the job for. And I find it hard that the person that, Zing's Construction went in and without having a price on the project, did the demolition.
Understand. That's
There would have to be some sort of agreement, whether it's a verbal agreement or not, as to how much Zing's would charge the individual, the property owner, for the demolition.
So no permit, no value.
It's beyond me that somebody would just go in and do the demolition without having an idea of the cost, either from the person that is doing the demolition or from the person who is hiring them to do the demolition. There'd have to be some sort of an agreement with regards to how much it would have cost before any action would have been taken. And also, since it was a safety violation, that was included with the permitting violation, we really have to hit them with a higher fine because that includes the safety violation. So in the future, can we try and see whether we can actually nail that down? Because we really need to know the cost of the project. And just by them saying, no, there was no set price, and perhaps there's a, do we have some way of an estimate with regards to that type of operation or project that we can reference to in order to determine the market price for that type of a project, for us to better able to set the fine to. I'm just concerned because there was also a safety violation that one thing is for the permit violation, another thing is when the safety of the workers or the public is at stake. Just a note.
Where does, I mean, with the citations and the price that, the fine, where do we draw the line? I mean, what comes to the board and what's decided by the executive director? How is that decided? How is that, we decided on some of these, or this is what you told us, but
I really think it should be brought to the board for any type of monetary citation, or we should decide here.
or maybe,
That's my
the
opinion.
monetary value of the contract? Maybe the executive director could handle a certain amount of threshold and then the rest come to the board.
Maybe we should consult legal because based on Mr. Taylor's advice to us to before, when it is a safety, there is a proof, then we could issue right away, a citation, and then the director will, upon his discretion, if how much is the fine, but we can verify with
With Mr. Keeler.
With Mr. Taylor again.
And
how-
before the
how much.
cases are closed, let us,
Well, I
let the-
just wanna know, at what point does it come to the board?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's duly noted. Mr. Cruz, thank you. Those, I believe, will be lessons learned here now with the new board members and the executive director, and we will start working on those evaluations. And maybe we could also
Yeah.
come up, at what point do we send it to the board? Like what threshold, right? If there's monetary involved there. Now,
If
with the
there's,
board,
like, in this last case where there's no agreement,
right,
that should come to the board.
right, okay,
Because there's no agreement,
Exactly.
there's no contract, there's no,
yes,
they're
ma'am.
probably doing it, under the table and then,
okay. And we'll work closely with legal, because I know there's some areas there in the public law of Guam Code annotated where it's telling us about fees and fines. So we gotta make sure we stay within
Yeah,
that
like-
parameter.
We have the minimums and maximums, but also with regards to Zing's construction, to deny that there's no agreed price for the project is, it's hard for me to believe that they conduct business that way. And if it's a pattern of, well, if this becomes a pattern where people will just say, oh, there's no agreement as far as payment, then we have no basis in order to set our fine to if the minimums or maximums are based on the construction, the cost of the project, then we really don't have a basis for setting it at $1,000 because we have no idea what the cost of the project was in order to assess the minimum or maximum assessment on the project.
Okay, sir, so, with that in mind, I'd like to request for the board then to come up with the policy there in that area, maybe ask us to work with the board. And once you guys decide what will be the set guidelines or the standards, please forward to my office so we can start enforcing the policy. Is that okay?
is that something
Yes.
that we work with all the time? What I recommend is maybe you recommend then a proposal.
Yeah,
Propose it.
but we get our marching orders from the board.
We understand that, but we don't
can recommend to us,
particularly
yeah.
have the expertise with regards to the actual cost of projects. we'd have to, defer to,
Lessons learned, and
pardon?
it's duly noted.
I
And I will
understand.
be sitting down with our troops here, and we'll come up
I
with
understand
something.
you
Why
said
don't
it's
you look
duly
up what other
noted.
states do?
Yeah.
You know, why don't you look
I
up what
understand
other
that it's
states
duly noted, but we're trying to find out, this is something that the board is requesting of you. Not that when I'm not just asking you for it to be duly noted. What I'm asking for is some information where as a board can say, okay, there is a standard way of determining the market price or the cost of specific projects. Is there some sort of reference guide that we go through as to see whether, certain projects or certain things that need to be done are available, so that we can go and say, we can reference this and determine that there is actual documentation that we can say is reasonable to look at and use as a guide when a contractor and a person who's hiring a contractor say that there is no cost or agreed cost of the project. That's what I'm trying to get to. Because the board does not have access to that information. That's what I'm asking. Do we have some sort of documentation or a book that tells us what a project should
or
cost,
even a
so that we
contracting
could then go
accounting firm,
and do that?
What does the Y do?
I'm not asking for duly noted.
Well,
I'm asking for information.
I understood where you're coming, sir, and what I meant when I said duly noted is that we will work on it, and you will be advised. That's all I'm trying to say.
What you said was that it was the duty of the board to tell you what to do and that you do it.
Well, that's part, yes, that is, sir, part of the law.
And what the board was asking was for the information from you and to ask whether your people know of such a reference, so that we can act upon that and then transfer and create the what we need to create for you to carry out.
Okay, got it.
Can I say something more to that, sir?
Good.
Okay, we tried to do a schedule of fees before. Actually, we went to the office of Senator, we submitted it to the board, the first offense, second offense, in order to determine how much the amount of fine. But then again, when the Samsung case came, we were advised that just to keep the minimum 200, not to exceed 50%, because if that went through the schedule of fees, then Samsung would have been only fined $1,000 because it is the first offense.
Who gave you that advice?
Which one?
What you're saying?
Mr. Orsini said that some attorney from the governor's office said keep the minimum 200.
Why do we keep going all over the place for legal advice? Why isn't it consistent with Keeler? If Keelers are assigned AG, that's the one we should use.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
Mr. Keeler stick to the 200 and not to exceed also because on the Samsung.
I think you should just stick with Mr. Keeler. Yeah.
So that's why the one that Mr. Cruz was asking if there is a set, in order for us to base, the fines, that did not go through.
Okay, well, we have to.
It wasn't for the fine. It was for setting the price of each, like for demolition. Okay, for a specific project, square foot demolition, specific type of construction. As far as industry standards, that's what I was asking for. Is there an industry standard that we can defer to give us a price when a price isn't available? When they say that they didn't have an agreed price or contracted price, that we can refer to and say, okay, if you claim that you didn't have a price, okay, we'll go and refer to this document, and it'll tell us that the industry standard charge for this type of work is this X. So we are going to base our citation and our fine based on this, absent the contract between the two parties.
Right.
That's what I was asking.
Okay, sir. We'll find out for that if there is per square foot or whatever. I know for the building there is a set, per square footage, but on the demolition we have to do our research.
Right, because the $1,000 you said that was just an arbitrary amount. We didn't go off a percentage of the project. That was, the $1,000 was just an arbitrary amount that the director had chosen at that point in time. So that's what I'm trying to do, to avoid the arbitrary setting of citations or fines and actually follow what the code says about a minimum, a maximum of a percentage of the total cost of the project. That's what I was trying to put forth, so that we don't have this situation where an arbitrary fine was set. And then can be later, they can protest against what we assessed. It has to be standardized. And what we have on the books is that we take a percentage of the project costs. And since we didn't have that here, we just took an arbitrary amount and said, okay, $1,000, because it sounded good. And we don't know whether that was the minimum or maximum or whatever, where that, because we didn't have any number to go off of with regards to the project, the cost of the project. What I want to do is get rid of the, the arbitrary setting of the fine, and find some sort of logic to base the fines on. And that's where it comes in, a standardized pricing of certain projects, so that we can refer to that when something like this comes up.
Right.
That's all.
So we're gonna work on it, get the staff together, and we'll see what standards we can follow, and with the advice of Mr. Keeler on the side, and we'll bring it up to the board, and we'll present it, and let's see where we go. Are you okay with that, Matt?
Yeah, that's fine. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to find. If whether there's a standardized nationwide standard that we can refer to in order to base our fines on, and get away from this arbitrary setting of fines. Because once we set up a process in order to set the fines, then we can start to say, okay, we can defer the setting of fines to the administrator. That's all.
Okay,
Then we have a set, operations.
all right, thank you, Matt, thank you so much.
All right, a policy, a set policy.
Right, okay, so, Nita, we got more?
Yeah, I got more. I got an update of the 3 cases that we have that was already presented to the board before. So I'm just gonna give an update on the case number 2021-0801 CLB versus Samsung ANC Inc. So this case is still under, it was already voted the amount of the settlement, but the documents is still under review by the AG's office, so we haven't received the actual settlement document yet. It's with the AG's office right now. But we have also given an extension to Samsung to respond to the accusations until April 29. So hopefully before April 29 there will be a document that will be provided by legal counsel for the board to review. So it could be served to the counter offer, right? It could be served to Samsung for their
Okay.
okay. Good. So the other case is case number 2021-0903 G4S versus Technologies for Tomorrow. So this case is still open also. It was given also to legal counsel for his final review. We will update the board when legal counsel is finished reviewing.
Okay, the next one?
Next one, case number 2021-0904 GMI versus ASIG Mensis. It is also an open case, and it's also under review by the legal counsel as of now. We submitted some more documentation, so it's under his review. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can I just ask, in the previous two, 903 and 904, what are we expecting, what are we expecting in terms of an outcome from the legal counsel? he gonna make a determination? Is he gonna solidify your findings? Is he gonna ratify it or to the board, or what are we expecting?
Can I make a comment?
We forwarded our findings already, sir. And so now it's going to be his opinion that will be coming out to us. And then from there, we'll submit it to you guys for the
To the
final.
board?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
At this time, we don't know what his opinion
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, but we did, like Nita was saying, provided him information that he requested for.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that we're waiting for now, for his response.
Okay.
The number of building permits cleared from January to March 2022 is 244, and total citations issued 6, and the amount of fines 5,200. Oh, it will go up because it's 3,000 each. Yeah, we will amend it, you know, the next report, because the 2 will go up to 3,000. Okay, so far
Okay.
that is all the investigation report.
Thank you, Ms. Neva.
You're welcome, sir.
Let's move on, to the executive director's preliminary report to the board.
Okay, report on status of renewals, proposed procedures, revision of rules and regulations. As I mentioned earlier, that was already, we're almost done with that. And then we'll fire that over to legal, before it goes further on the adjudication process. However, we are accepting A and B classification, including payment, so that don't stop. What we got going is, category C. We are accepting applications, and that's it though. We're not gonna accept payments, and also that's advice from legal. We could accept applications for category C, but no other processing until the C68 process is completed and adjudicated. Okay, so that said, my recommendation was possible extension should routes not be adjudicated by June 30, 2022. Being realistic, it's not really gonna happen. This adjudication process is probably gonna take the rest of the year. I don't know what happens when it goes back down to the legislature, so it's not gonna happen in June. But you know, I think because this is what we're doing now, I think it's a great accomplishment. Finally, this is moving forward, and we'll have something in place for C68.
If the legislature doesn't act on it, it becomes
Yes,
the rules and regs, right?
correct.
So it just depends on what they're gonna do downtown.
Yes, and we are working with our,
Oversight, Chair?
over at the ALUP, Governor's Office, we are getting advice from him or her, I believe. Where's,
Yes.
what's her name?
Leslie?
Yeah, Leslie. And so she's showing, she's coordinating the process and what to do before we go to the legislature for the process. So that's where we at. My recommendation for the extension, so I spoke to Mr. Keeler about that also, and he told me he doesn't see any problem with that. Okay, so that one is done. Okay, report on pending application, review exhibits C and D. Pending application for J. Laxamana and W. Janasek. Okay, now,
What's a D?
sorry,
The D classification? Huh?
exhibits.
Oh, exhibit?
C and
Oh,
D.
we got two exhibits attached.
No, sorry. Those are on your desk.
Okay. Do you wanna discuss that when the exhibits come back? Since you have the history. Do you have the history?
Which one, which exhibit?
See, I don't wanna really, talk about this, cause this was like a year and a half ago, so. Maria?
I can.
Okay, well,
Wait till we see the exhibits, then we probably don't need to answer the rest of us. let's look at what TNG is. Her exhibits, as soon as she
That's
brings it
why I
over.
said,
Yeah, then we can look at it and see whether we've
Yes.
discussed this before, so we know what it is, so we don't have
Yeah,
to
exactly.
drag it on.
I cannot say without the exhibits for you guys to, you know.
Okay. Jordan, go ahead and, please, release the exhibits, CMD, explain to the board what we're talking about here. I'd rather have her do this. I was not here during this process, so she's got the clear history of what's going on here. So, thank you, Jordan. Go ahead.
Maybe we can look at all the exhibits.
Well, these are their applications. And then these are the documents that we're proposing be issued. There's two.
Which one is exhibit C?
We only have one copy.
It's here.
We
Okay,
don't wanna review.
yeah, this is,
We
We'll
just want
just
the,
summarize
yes.
it.
yeah, we just want a summary.
So, what had happened was these individuals had submitted their applications, took their exams. We will go ahead and start with, Mr. Janasak. He passed the, his classification, his A, general engineering, but did not pass his law exam, and he missed it by 1 point. At that point, our previous director, Mr. Orsini, stated that if an individual does well on their original, like their A application, their classification, does well with Miss Nita Bailey with their interview, then it is at his discretion to give that 1 extra point for passing. So then Mr. Orsini did give him that 1 extra point, and he passed. So Mr. Janasak received the passing document for A and B. I'm sorry, for A and the law, so that he can be licensed. However, then it came to light of everything came up, and when Miss Ibanez found out about it, she was not on board with it. So then now Mr. Sanchez is on board, and he wanted to bring it to you guys to see if you guys agree and honor Mr. Orsini's decision.
Is he
or-
allowed to do this by law?
According to Mr. Orsini, Mr. Casalo gave him that information at a NASCLA meeting. I guess they were, that was the conversation that Mr. Orsini gave to me and to Nita.
Yeah. When they
So-
were off island, according to, the NASCLA, the executive director.
But was that, I'm sorry, but
We didn't-
was
we
that
were
approved
not
by the
there.
board? the lease?
I cannot answer that, sir.
Okay.
I was searching
No,
for that
No, I
information.
think what it is they went to this conference,
Mhm.
according to what you recommended they do what other agencies do, is that this was a recommendation,
Mhm.
that they have, that 1%, whatever. So I think that's what the decision was based on.
Correct.
Okay, from one director, next director, third director. As a board, we don't wanna tie our own people's hands in doing business, okay? If the other agencies or other states are doing something like this, one point, I think we should honor what was done and not have to drag this on for another director to make this decision. So we as a board make this, and then all these rules and regulations you guys are gonna be working on, but this one, you can go search for what other agencies are doing and bring it to our attention. But I think back to 3 directors ago, we shouldn't
Okay.
have to do this.
Did it get presented to Mr. Keeler?
It did. When I did bring it up over to Miss Ibanez, she brought it to Mr. Keeler. Both of them agree that a fail is a fail. So, and then it was no decisions were made. And then when Mr. Sanchez came on, then he he wanted to bring it to the
Are you
board.
telling me these guys took a test in December 2021? As of today, no one said whether they
So-
passed or failed?
So, correct. So, okay, this one,
We have 45
With-
days to issue
yeah.
and we never did it.
with
That's-
Mr. Janasak, he was missing documents. So that's why it took a little bit of time to come to light. Then Mr. Janasak, to my understanding, then when he provided everything and then it was noticed. And then with Mr. Laksamana, this one, he took the test.
Same thing, right?
It's just newer, kind of the same situation, very, did well on their classification, but missed the exam by 1 point.
Which is the law part.
The
We don't-
law.
We don't expect them to be lawyers, but
Yeah.
we want them to be able to do the job,
Yes.
okay?
But they should have adequate knowledge of the law.
Mhm.
At one point. I'm sorry, I don't even have that.
But, I mean, even at Rev Tax, we don't do that. We don't, fail is fail.
Exactly.
Even the law, the bar exam,
is fail.
fail is
You
fail.
failed, you failed.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, I have an 11:30 I need to attend.
sir.
We still have a quorum though.
Well, are you gonna go?
thank you, Director.
So the items that were issued were each letters, sample letters to, Mr. Janasak and Mr. Laksamana. I can amend these letters.
What did, I'm sorry, Orsini do on, Laksamana?
Same thing, he issued the pass. Mr. Laksamana,
1 point.
he failed the law exam twice, retook it the third time, and that's the last one where he failed by that 1 point. So at that point, Mr. Orsini gave him that pass. Mr. Janasak, technically, he still has one more chance. He only took the law exam one time, and typically, if he failed, then he would have been offered a second chance to retake that exam. However, Mr. Orsini passed him.
Okay, how many times do they fail before they, I mean, I think there's a period.
They are allowed to take the test twice, and then they would have to wait 1 year to reapply.
So Laksamana waited a year and reapplied?
No.
They both at the same time?
I'm sorry, and then there's an option, should you want to test a third time, you would have to write a letter to the executive director, and the executive director, which he did, and the executive director will make a decision to either grant that third try or deny the third try. And so that's how Mr. Laksamana was able to take
So
that.
what's the issue now?
Both of them are at the brink of getting their license. We just need to find out if Mr. Orsini's decision to give them that passing, that 1
Give them the
point,
passing in law will.
give them their license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Sharon it's 1 point. So what he did, the former director, he passed them on that one. He gave them the 1 point. Okay, so that was done, but then the next director came in and rescinded them. Okay, now it's the third director, and this is why we're here, is deciding, are we gonna allow this 1 point for these two guys, or throw it back?
If
But-
they fail, they fail.
The thing is, if we do this, we're opening a can of worms.
Correct.
That's
We're
correct.
opening Pandora's box,
what it
you
is.
know.
Give it back. I disagree on,
Um,
what had happened, you know.
One of the things that Mr. Sanchez had, was going to request from you guys is because it took so long, because they waited these months, if we can issue them, and yes, I'm sorry, and we actually did tell them that they passed, can we issue them one last try? Or Mr. Janasak has his already one try, but Mr. Laksamana, are we able to issue him that one more chance at retesting? And those are the documents you see in front of you.
But he's within, he did the two and then he's asking for a third. That's under the director's discretion. To give him a third, another chance to take a test.
So Mr. Laksamana, yes, sir, he already had 3 chances.
I would give the director the discretion on the tries, but I don't know about the 1 point, you know, failing is failing.
Yeah,
Well, if the board here approves of me to make that decision, then it's either you fail or pass. It's done. I don't wanna open up a can
No,
of
but
worms here.
what we're saying to you is, we agree with you, we don't want you to give the 1 point so that he passes.
Correct.
But you can decide to let him take the test
retest it.
again.
Okay.
That's what we're saying,
Okay.
or that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so I don't,
I move
Got it.
that, the executive
Motion.
director be given the authority to decide whether or not, these, or these two gentlemen and future applicants
correct.
can take, the, test over. Am I saying this right? In the future. So you can decide on, Laksamana and Janasak. But as far as,
The one.
allowing them to pass and giving them 1 point, I disagree with that.
Yeah,
And the other board members can vote yea or nay, but
yes,
if a fail is a fail,
you're absolutely
Yeah.
correct.
Fail is a fail.
yes.
Yes.
I second her motion.
All in favor?
That's 30.
Um,
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Director, you got the ball in your court.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get lynched after this.
Next.
Okay.
Okay, so we're, going down to old business, correct?
Yes.
A long board meeting.
We're almost done.
Yeah,
C11 test.
This,
old business. Is that your part,
This will be presented by Miss Maria Perez.
okay.
The C11, which is demolition, which is Exhibit E, proposed test, with the key which is involved. Anything you have the questions and the answers, if there is a false and if it's highlighted, that's how I got the false, because the previous,
Yes.
yeah, the previous meeting, they asked, how did you get the false? So that's what I did, I highlighted the verbiage to show how it became. I also attach the 385 as to how I arrived with the questions and answers. I'm hoping that the board can review, and if you want to add or subtract or give any comments, please let me be
Is this the
aware
test
of
you
it.
actually give?
It's just our office has been trying for
Well,
years.
after we finish with the, scramble the questions, okay, cause too many people have it already. Yeah,
Yeah,
got my point? Yeah. Okay,
but that's,
but can we do this, and bring it back?
I don't know,
Yeah.
I think so.
Sure.
you
Okay.
wanna review, cause I'm not gonna review
I
it
know,
right now.
I don't have time to do this right now, but,
Yeah,
I don't mind taking it and looking it over.
okay.
Okay, Maria.
Me?
That's it.
No, you're good.
That's it?
Oh, there's
Okay.
just,
One more.
James Casalo's leave. Oh,
Yes, is
Oh,
there an
the-
update there?
he already gave an update on the rules and regs, right?
Yes,
I did present that
Yes.
earlier,
Yes.
so.
yes.
Yes. I can take this one. This is for Mr. James Casalo's leave of absence. So after speaking with Mr. Michael Weekly, the motion you all made at the last meeting to accept Mr. Casalo's resignation will only stand if Mr. Orsini can provide a document, a tangible document. If he cannot provide the tangible document, then we will need to come back, the board will need to make,
What
a
tangible document are you talking about?
of his resignation.
Letter.
Because as of right now, it's
Lost in space?
lost in space kind of deal.
Casalo?
Can we,
Yeah.
can we ask him for another copy from him himself?
No, we've tried to come in, get in contact with him, both myself and Lily Sanchez, and he is not responding at all.
How
So,
long have we been trying to contact him?
months. I send
More,
him
more, there
messages.
should be more than
So-
that.
There's something in the law that
Yes.
says if you miss like
Three.
3 consecutive
Three.
board meetings,
Okay,
you can be removed, or there's something in the law, look it up.
Yes,
And
there
if we
is.
can hang our hat on that, let's go for it.
yeah, so that's
Yeah, that's
actually
it,
what Mr.
precisely.
That's what, well, he didn't quote that, but he said that, as of right now, if you guys wanted to make a vote to replace him with the
Removal.
board members we have
Yes.
now, to elect a new, chairman and vice chair, we have the power to do that. And then, if you could think of a replacement for Mr. Casalo, because the governor will be, you know, if we
She'll
ask
take our
to-
recommendation,
Yes,
yes.
exactly, thank you.
Okay, so I move that, we accept, or we, I don't like to use the word remove, but remove Mr. Casalo from the board, and I move that Mr. Vice Chairman take over. And as chairman, and I move you,
I second.
I move that you be a vice chair. She seconded, so.
Yes.
we're good.
I can't second if you're doing that.
Can I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, there you go.
Matthew, I was gonna recommend you.
All in favor?
Aye.
No. Aye,
Aye.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay.
no problem. Thank you for the motion.
Yes, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I have total confidence in your leadership.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Michelle.
Thank you.
All right, we have no new business, sir?
No.
You can continue.
Okay, so I guess, new business? Anybody?
No, none.
None? Okay, the next board meeting, scheduled regular board meeting is on May 18th, 2022 at 10 a.m. Any questions so far? No, nothing? It's exactly 11:27, and I would like to adjourn the meeting.
Can I get a first or motion?
Motion to adjourn?
I second.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day. Be safe.
Congratulations.
We'll see you
Take care.
Monday.
See ya.